Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Humans of Tech short form series, now on Spotify. So if you're listening in, hello, I am Kelly Pozda, and I have my co-host, Caroline Pino. And just as a reminder, the Humans of Tech series is an unstructured interviews. And so we ask leaders in tech questions at random. We don't re-record, we don't edit, and we just ask that they answer authentically. So to kick off today, I'm really excited about this guest because I think I probably asked him like a couple months ago, and this guy's very busy. So thank you, Ernesto, for being on. Ernesto Pereira is the information security manager at Episcopal Health Services, which is a hospital in New York City. And beyond his day job, he's always continuing his education. So I've been following him and chatting with him, and very excited to have him on today to answer questions. So Ernesto, welcome. And what made you actually finally say yes?
Good afternoon. It's part of this thing that I've been doing where if I would normally not be willing to do it and it makes me uncomfortable, I'm kind of doing it. I think there was a whole movie built on that premise with Jim Carrey too. But that's honestly, that's a lot of what I've been doing as far as getting out into doing networking and going out to the events in the city. Because normally I would just go home and say, no, I'm not doing it. You know?
Well, we appreciate it. Caroline, take it away.
Get comfortable doing the uncomfortable.
That's right.
I love that. The woman who started Spanx.
Yep, Sarah Blakely.
Sarah Blakely, love her. She has a whole talk track around making sure you do something that's uncomfortable daily.
Ooh.
All right, we got a question. I'm very excited. It's been a hot minute since I pulled out a question. Okay. What are some lessons or key takeaways you've gained from your experience in the technology industry?
Oof. It's kind of broad.
You can take that wherever you want to take it.
Yeah, I mean it's been a long 20 something years. I would say there's this really big focus. So I'm going to take it as someone that's like new to the industry, like advice that I would give. I would say that while it's encouraged to do post high school education right away, it really does pay to have a couple of years in and like some sort of entry level role, and then start kickstarting your quest for knowledge while you're actually able to apply it at the same time, because you're going to retain a lot more. What was the second part to that question? I'm sorry.
No, it's kind of like what I think I know where you're going. So key takeaways from your experience in the technology industry. And what I'm hearing is sometimes, and I actually, when I was a lot younger, I would get stuck where you learn something and then you want to keep learning, but almost it was because it was fear of actually getting out and doing what I just learned. And what I'm hearing from you is the key big thing is learn, go and do.
Correct.
And then stop and take a minute and say, well, what do I need to learn now based on that?
And kind of circling back to earlier discussion, it's getting comfortable being uncomfortable. I feel like the minute that you start to feel like every day is just the same, but not as you're not feeling challenged anymore, it's time to speak to your leadership and see if you can move into something with a little bit more responsibility, or maybe that involves things you haven't had a lot of exposure to, or it's time to start looking elsewhere. And by looking elsewhere, I don't necessarily mean just throwing your resume on, LinkedIn or Indeed. I mean going out and start meeting people in the industry and having conversations, asking for advice. And usually through those connections, you'll fall into your next role.
Yeah, I would also say like having that almost informational interview type conversation, like, hey, how'd you get to where you're at in your journey? And then if there is an opportunity in the long run that may come back, then they had already met you, and they are more susceptible to maybe telling you about a job opening or something like that. And then like what you said, Ernesto, of almost asking your leadership internally, like what is what's the future of this division, or how in 3 years can I even work to maybe be something else internally, whether that is the same route that you're at or a different division that you're most interested in. And I think, Ernesto, you do a great job of like continue your education. And I chat with you a lot and you're like, yep, I'm studying. I'm like, that's great. And so always knowing that, like, if you're attending your 9 to 5 day, it's like maybe after just go meet that person or go learn something new. And then, so.
Yeah,
Great.
100%.
Well, this was a lovely piece of nugget, actually.
Yeah.
Open yourself up to something new, do the work that you learn, and talk to people around you about how else you can expand.
Absolutely.
Well, we loved having you.
Yes. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.